on this fine February 17th afternoon. Thank you all for joining the Board of Elections meeting today. Greatly appreciate you being here, and welcome the board, and thank you for your support this afternoon as well. Thank you. I'm not sure. Can you share with me, or do we have guests online today? Okay. I just wanted to be sure and include them and welcome them for their participation as well. So you've all received the agenda ahead of time and have it in front of you as well. If I could have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I so move.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so the agenda is approved. I also have the minutes from our February 10th meeting. I've lost a few months, so
I've
just
been
help me
there.
get them back.
I've been there.
February 10th minutes. They were also circulated. Are there any corrections or amendments to those minutes as circulated? If not, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Gabrielle, thank you. And I'll pass these around for signature. Our Executive Director, Corinne Duncan.
All right, office updates. We are in full swing in this election. So first, and these are a little bit in random order, but we will go through each of them. So next week, we need to do a budget update. So we met with the county, had our first chat, and so we will work on that and bring that to the board. I suggest for next week, if we want to put that on the agenda. The next thing I wanted to cheer about was early voting turnout. It is fantastic. So we are having higher turnout than the presidential primary, which is quite amazing. And if you are interested in the statistics related to early voting, on our website, in the quick links area, there's a daily turnout document, and Gabrielle is handing that out to the board right now, but anyone has access to it, and it shows all of our sites, the turnout at the sites, and some other statistics as well. So I wanted to remind you all that we had that available. It's really useful. I like data. You will notice that our Upper Hominy location is a little bit low, but people are going to it. So this will be good data for us to look at when we're devising our plan for the general election.
Director Duncan, I would encourage anyone who is interested in maintaining the Upper Hominy Fire and Rescue, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, and encourage them to go out there and use the facility. This is one of these things where I know that we want to put early voting locations where people will use them the most. And I thought it was a really good idea when my colleagues on the board suggested that we try this one. And to give it the fullest test, spread the word. It's out there. People might not be aware because I think we've only used it one other time back in 2008. So it's an opportunity.
The closest one from that is what? The south? No, what would be the closest one to Upper Hominy here?
Inca Candler Library.
Inca Candler. Okay. Which is getting really good numbers. So it'd be nice to have some of them go out there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, these are great questions, and we should definitely, again, take all these things into account when we do our general plan. The next thing I wanted to let everyone know about is the provisionals. This is the first election where we'll have a significant number of provisionals to process in those 3 days. So we're on track with our new plan, hired a team that's just going to focus on provisionals. Nate has already trained those people, so we're on track to implement our new plan and be ready to process those. During early voting, we don't get very many provisionals, so we've had a few, but most provisionals come in on election day, so we'll know then how many we have to process.
And the reason for the increase in the provisionals is some of the law changes?
I don't know that there will be an increase in
Okay.
provisionals or not.
Okay.
There are more reasons that qualify a provisional, so that is true. But the real thing I'm pointing out is the reduction in time to process. So we had 8 days, now we have 3.
Got it.
So we just have to make a new plan there. It is 3:39 right now, and our absentee request deadline is at 5 o'clock today. So if you want to request an absentee by mail ballot, do that now, online portal, or you can drop that in at our office. And again, I wanted to mention that because it's a week earlier than it usually is. And we've put out social media and press releases with all of this information in it as well. The board is aware of this, but I wanted to make sure that I said it in a public meeting that the State Board of Elections upheld this board's decision on our Lunsford Mormon hearing. So I wanted to make sure that that we covered that. Back to early voting, I wanted to mention the South Buncombe Branch Library. So I have been getting some complaints about the South Buncombe Library, and it really is born out of something very positive, which is that they expanded their parking lot, and that site really needs more parking. I mean, all of our sites need to be bigger. I think that's a goal of this board, to try to find bigger sites. So that parking, it's a lower parking lot that isn't visible from the road. So a lot of people don't know that parking lot is down there. The upper lot, because it's not a general election, isn't full. So people are going to that upper lot. They're walking in the upper door, not following the signs to where voter parking is. And that is causing confusion with campaigners and voters and whatnot. So again, as we go through this election, we can think about what we want to do next time. But what we've done is put out more signs. We're going to do curbside at both doors, and campaigners are at both doors as well right now. We're going to run into parking constraints when we have much higher turnout in the general. So we kind of need to think about what we're going to do in that situation. But we're working through it. Again, it's good. We have more parking, but it's a change.
Director Duncan, if I may. I was contacted more than I really like about the South Buncombe Library. And I made a visit yesterday. And there are any number of issues. I think that calling it an expansion of the parking lot is a mischaracterization. The South Buncombe Library had a new, separate, completely separate, in a different area parking lot developed. And I presume that one of the reasons they had that developed was to help deal with the increased traffic we get in voting. And that's fine, except that the parking lot is behind the building. And, if folks have been using it for 20 years, and transition's tough, change is tough. I get that. The challenge, though, is that is the early voting site that is going to see more senior voters than any other, because it is in South Buncombe. And that is where we have so many senior living facilities. And for many years, people have pulled into the parking lot, they've walked in the front door of the library, and they have cast their vote. Now they are being asked to either climb 17 steps from the new parking lot up to the building, or to climb a ramp that is so long that it has a switchback. So I can see how the new parking lot helps the library manager, it helps the library staff, and it helps library patrons. But I fail to see how it has helped voters. In fact, it's harder for voters to access the site in the new configuration than it was under the old one. And the two poll workers that I spoke to yesterday, two absolutely lovely people who you can tell have been doing this together for a long time, one Republican and one Democrat, they were puzzled as to why we would make it harder for voters to access the site. So I just wanted my colleagues to be aware of what the real issue is. I will also point out that even when a voter goes in through the front door of the library, they are being directed to exit through the back door, and then they've got to find their way back to the front of the building. The last point I will make is, even though curbside voting is down on this lower parking lot, which is very, very far away from any election worker, I won't even get into the 50-foot markers, which are all wrong at that site. I didn't find one that was correct.
Jake, if I may.
Please, 'cause I'm very frustrated
well,
with the
it's,
site. I
um,
know it's well-intentioned.
No. Well, because I've also received
Okay.
my share of calls. And so I spoke with Nagy earlier this afternoon, and some changes have been made. Additional curbside voting has been added back to
It's upstairs.
upstairs.
I got a photograph of a curbside voter upstairs yesterday, actually. They served at least one curbside voter up top yesterday.
But front and back entrance, more signs, better directions, all of those things are trying to be addressed as presented and as confronted, because the voters
Sure.
that reached out
Sure,
to me
sure.
were frustrated, and some were candidates because they wanted to be able to access the voters. The others were poll workers that have been there for maybe longer than the library, and wanted to express their concerns.
Yeah.
So I try to just collect that information, share it with Corrine and Nagy, and make sure we're trying to address people's concerns. So
Thank you,
it
Madam
hasn't
Chair.
gone.
Thank you. Oh, no, it's poor Karina Nagy have heard from me on this. I mean,
I'm sorry.
but yeah,
that.
no, but no, I want all the board members to be aware, and I want members of the community to be aware. And this is one of the good things about a primary. We learn things in the primary. We have got to find a different way for the fall. The configuration that the South Buncombe Branch Library is wanting us to use this time is not going to work in the fall. And so, I mean, I'll keep my mind as open as I can about this, but accessibility to voters, especially those who might have mobility issues, is really, really crucial. And I want to make sure that we are taking that into account when we are giving directions to candidates, their teams, and the parties on what the setup's going to be at that site. And I'll go over some of the details rather than bore everybody with them here. But I got any number of photographs that make me go, why is it set up this way? So we'll do that later offline. Thank you.
Do you have more comments about that, or?
No, I think, like I said earlier, I think that us having discussions about things and working through, and whether this site is a site that we want to have next time, all of those things need to come up. We want the best plan that we can make. So I think it's great that we have discussion about these things. The last thing on my agenda was regarding, we actually touched a little bit on it, where there are new reasons to have provisionals. And since there are just a lot of questions about the registration repair project and and how things happen at the voting location. I asked Nagy Fox to come and give a little presentation on that, and hopefully add some clarification there, ask questions, and we'll continue on to try to put things out there for everyone to learn and be aware of, because I know you also get questions. So we want to make sure that you have the information you need to feel empowered to answer questions.
All right, good evening. So yes, so I'm here to discuss what we are doing at the polls to ensure that our voters hopefully have the smooth process, since we have some things that are happening in the state that we're trying to repair and hopefully correct. So right now we have a couple of different situations happening. We have folks that starting last year were identified as folks who did not provide to us either a social security number, last 4 digits, or a driver's license number. And we use those numbers to verify their identity. That's one of the checks that we do when people register. So we're checking with the Social Security Administration, we're checking with the DMV to make sure that this person exists. Then we mail their card, and that's part of the address verification. So lots of things are happening after the fact or behind the scenes when you register to vote. The State Board of Elections determined that we had voters on our rolls that had not provided those numbers to us for whatever reason. Maybe did it. We've changed technology. Process have changed. Lots of things have happened in the last few decades. So the State Board initiated this process called the Voter Registration Repair Project. That was started last summer when they ran the check to every county and determined who in each individual's county the voters had not provided those numbers to us. That list was provided to us, and our goal was to review all those records to see, hey, can we find them somewhere else in a form that they turned in years ago, in another database, in another place, and try to fill in those gaps as best we could. We were given a deadline of November to go through all that check. We met our deadline, and then the State Board, during that time, also sent out a letter informing the voters, hey, we're doing this project. This is why we're doing this project, and this is what we would like for you to provide to us in order to get your record correct. So that's been going on behind the scenes, kind of happening. So in preparation for the election, we know that some people responded, some haven't, whatever that may be. They prepared for folks who, okay, they're going to still come and vote in person. So what do we need to do when they come in to vote in person and we may not have these numbers? So the State Board created a process for all 100 counties in North Carolina where we are flagging those voters' records in the system that we use when we process them at in-person voting. For the repair project, correct. So there is a flag for those particular voters that fall under the repair project. Those folks are being asked to vote provisionally, and that is the flag. You don't have those numbers, we will need you to vote provisionally. The provisional process allows us to then data enter those numbers for that voter's record. Then those will come back. Obviously, you all will be reviewing those, making sure that that is correct, and then those numbers will be part of that person's record moving forward.
Question.
Yes.
Is that different than when a poll worker would just see that there was something missing haven't they been able to put in their social security
No.
before or any of
No.
that? Or
Those
driver's license?
fields.
It was just the address or some things
Correct.
like that. Okay.
Up to this point, the only thing that a poll worker could enter was right.
Okay.
Their name change, address change. Now, if we were creating a new record, because this was a same-day registration, then yes, we could capture that information.
A brand new person.
Brand new person. If it was the same day, because we're creating a new record, we could ask that and it would allow you to enter those. But otherwise, those fields would be gray out. We would not be entering anything in there. This process, so they did this process where we're going to vote them provisionally. That will allow you to be on that screen, where it allows you to enter that information and capture it for that voter.
Question.
Yes,
That's only about, for our county, we're at about 1,000 people.
correct. About
that are
1,100
in this
people. Right. We
situation.
started out over 2,000 and we
Okay.
dwindled it down to about 1,100.
Okay.
Through that research part that we did in the fall and summer. So we kind of will, we could get them validated and get those numbers in there. Let's do that. And that's what we did. So those records still, we still have those voters who, couldn't find anything we need to. So they were flagged in the records. And so that's what we're doing now. That is something that early voting workers and election day workers can do. And they've been trained to do so. Now, provisionals is something that we expect either the chief judge to do or a party judge to do. And so only those folks that are in that classification get that additional training. Okay. So not everybody got to see that in the regular training. This is an extra step. And so we want the chief judges to be the ones primarily handling our provisionals. So they get that extra specialized training. Okay. So that's what's going on with the repair project. Then the state board, as part of the agreement to but fill in those gaps for some folks who have been registered and may have provided the number, but then the number didn't validate. Okay, that was the second round of reviewing. These are not part of the repair project. These are folks, they went through our records and looked for people that had provided numbers, but for whatever reason, their number did not validate with the Social Security Administration or the DMV, both or one or the other. So these folks were sent a letter on February 3rd, very close to in-person voting, asking them to, hey, could you please provide these numbers? We need these numbers. And so they have a letter, they can provide those numbers, sign it, provide it to us, and we can add those in as we go. Now, for these voters, we've also determined if they have not provided this number, these numbers are not validated, and it was after 2004. This is what 2004 is when the HAVA Act was enacted and was passed, where you needed to provide one of these numbers in order to be able to register. Or if you did not have a number, then we would ask for a HAVA acceptable ID. And that could be another photo ID, or it could be like a utility bill, something that had your name and your address. So we now have a second category where we have the voters who have provided a number, but for whatever reason, those did not validate. In Buncombe County, that was around 5,000.
Oh, I heard 18,000.
Oh, no.
Okay, 5,000.
5,000.
Did not.
I've got both numbers, depending on the spreadsheet you look at.
Okay.
So it came out to about 5,000. And so those folks' records were also flagged for in-person voting. And so those folks' records flag say request DL/SSN. So request driver's license / social security number. Those specific voters who have been identified as being unvalidated in this group have been flagged, and those folks will actually be able to, the poll workers will actually be able to go in and update those fields without having to vote them provisionally.
That's good.
So that eliminates that provisional vote.
And what happens if the voter fails to supply the data?
So if they fail to provide, well, two things can happen. We will request the information the voter provides. If they do not have those, or, if the voter declines, no further action will be taken. We just don't put anything in there, and we move on.
And
Good,
it's
but
not a provisional
there's no
vote?
provisional ballot,
And
correct?
for the people who are unvalidated, they don't have to vote provisionally. No.
Good.
They do not.
They will likely get another letter though,
But
because
right.
this is an ongoing
Yes.
Well,
project.
that is fine, but when these individuals
No.
registered to vote, they met every requirement before them.
Mhm.
And you cannot change things and have them
Mhm.
be required ex post facto to supply that information. They're registered.
Right.
They're registered, and there's nothing that will
Right.
unregister them
Right.
in this
And it's
project.
neither, right, either the repair project
It-
or these folks who got this
Well,
letter in this month.
The repair project folks are subject to provisional
They are
balloting,
subject
but
to
the others aren't
provisionals.
subject to anything.
No.
And the letter they received failed to communicate that to them. It was in bold type in the press release that the state issued to the general public. But when 241,000 people in the state received a letter, which was essentially a phishing expedition, hey, there's some problems with your data. We're not going to tell you what it is. You've got to figure it out and send it in to us. I see nothing to reassure me about the process in the manner in which this second project has been rolled out. Registration repair project, I get. But we were not briefed on this.
Nope.
We were not told that members of this community would receive letters about this. We have no idea how those people were identified. The state has failed to provide any formula that would suggest to us what happened. Yet we have gotten hundreds of phone calls and no additional resources from the State Board of Elections. This is an unfunded mandate that was imposed on election services staff right at the beginning of a primary election. And I will go on record saying that this stinks to high heaven. Thank you.
Okay.
The good news is, and I certainly
Mhm.
am concerned about all of the timing of it and the procedure
The
for
time
sure.
was, yeah,
But the good news is that those 5,000 voters are not going to have to vote provisionally.
Correct.
That's good news for our
Correct.
staff. It's good news
Correct.
for those voters.
correct.
Yes, could
Yeah.
it have been handled a lot differently? We would hope. But
We're with you.
But I'm very relieved to know that we're looking at provisional ballots for that 1,100 only.
Only, correct.
And that the judges have been notified of that. I do have a judge who's been a chief judge for a long time who was asking me about who might vote provisionally, and he didn't hear it. If it was in training, he didn't get it.
Okay,
So if you could just pass that on to the trainers
okay.
to make sure
We
there's some way
emphasize that section.
that
Yep,
really emphasize that. Yes.
yep, absolutely.
Thank
Yep.
you.
So yeah, our poll workers are, doing the best they can with what they've been given. We're working through this. Lots of questions. That's why we have a helpline available. They call us. We help them out. We are getting lots of calls through the public line, and we're trying to field those and help as best we can and provide guidance to voters to the best of our ability. But at the end of the day, we want folks to know that they can vote. You haven't been removed, and we want you to know your right to vote is still there. So please participate and make that happen. And hopefully we will receive additional guidance. I will say there is a numbered memo. It's 2025-03. Don't quote me on that.
Only if
Where
you say it like that.
it's oh, we've had 1, 2, 3, and I can't remember which one of those are, but that numbered memo did give us a heads up that, hey, we're the next thing we need to tackle after the repair project is these folks that have been unvalidated. And so the state board was coming up with the process and a letter and all those things. And we knew something was coming. However, the timing was not made aware to us. It just dropped and hello. And we had to quickly adapt and make sure that we were ready and add supplemental things to our trainings and add things. So we've tried to, do the best that we can with what we got. And we will certainly continue to do that as to the best of our ability. So
Thank you.
Yes.
And Director Duncan did alert us
Yeah.
to that. We just didn't know what the impact was
Yeah.
going to be.
yeah, the letter was sent on February 3rd, and we didn't know that until February 3rd. So anyway,
Yeah, that was when I received my first. phone
started
call.
getting calls. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I got mine too.
Yeah, spectacular.
So lots of phone calls, and we've been getting them here too. So
I will say this,
Okay,
and it's not in defense because I don't disagree with the timing and the
Right.
how it plays in early voting in the primary. I do think updating information and correcting information and getting data accurate is a good thing. And so I
Yeah.
think, sometimes things start off on the wrong foot, but end up with both feet on good solid ground.
Right.
And hopefully that's where we will that's where we.
That's
will
where we
be.
were land, where we have not, and
Yeah.
again, this goes back to the, just making sure that our rolls are as clean as possible. We have list maintenance is going great.
Right.
We can identify who these folks are. We've identified who they are. We're not duplicating records, and it just makes things cleaner. It just makes things a lot better. But yes, the process could have been a little smoother.
Yes.
Yes.
Or
So,
warned.
or warned a little
Yes,
sooner.
ma'am.
I read in the paper that they're asking not only driver's license number, but full social security number. And I wonder if the election.
We've been told the last four of the social.
Right.
So
Citizen Times report. They don't all, said all of the social security number.
No, both letters, and I've got copies of those, is asking for the last four digits of the social security number. We do not need, nor do we have the room to add more than four numbers in our fields.
Can we,
However.
and that's what the letter
Mhm.
requested. And the only reason I know
Yeah.
that is because I had the good fortune of having the letter read to me.
Uh-huh.
So I know that the letter requests
Mhm.
the last four of the social.
That's
So-
can we
correct.
correct that and
In the
can we,
paper?
can we get that, that information to the paper, please?
Yes, if you send me that article, I can request a correction.
It was in yesterday's. Absentee.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, but the most important thing is for people to have accurate
Information, correct.
information. So, sure.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it could be something else, and we just need to figure out what that other else, who
Sure.
something else might be getting. But yeah, but
Jay.
four is all we need.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am so impressed with our staff's flexibility and the expertise and experience that they bring in every single day. I know that our staff will respond very, very effectively to all of these sudden changes. I do get concerned about our neighbors in other 99 counties in the state that don't have the same resources that we do here. But I thank you, Director, Deputy Director, and staff for the incredible work you do in the face of all kinds of changes and long odds.
You're very adept. And we appreciate it greatly.
And how?
Thanks, Nagy. Yes, ma'am.
You know that. Well, question is, I just heard about the lawsuit settlement. Questions regarding this, and I wasn't sure if it was referenced in the prison list.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, in the Griffin litigation, I mean, there was a decision handed down, but there were no further actions that were required in that decision. I can't think of any suit, regarding these activities that has been heard lately.
I'm not familiar with anything different than.
Oh. Hmm.
You want to read?
I don't know.
Hold on a minute here. She's looking something up.
Yep. Amy's got a headline for us. This is how we find out these things.
Yeah, we like it when there are no surprises, but
I don't know how. Is this touch screen or is this? Oh, good. I'm so good at that. It says Republicans in North Carolina Elections Board settle federal voter registration lawsuit. The Republican National Committee has settled a federal lawsuit with the State Board of Elections over missing information on voter registration forms. Under the settlement filed Monday, the state agreed to continue its registration repair project, seeking to collect the missing information and to reject registration applications where voters don't supply government ID numbers or check a box indicating they don't have one. Federal Judge Richard Myers must sign off on the settlement.
The settlement says that they do get to vote. I missed
They're not
something in
gonna
there.
have to do anything more.
They're not gonna have
just
to.
gonna continue the project.
Oh,
Yeah, they're gonna continue the project according to this.
Right.
Is that
Right.
what you see?
I didn't read it, I just think Google search everybody else was doing.
Okay.
And for whatever it's worth,
So thank you for that, but it looks like it's continuing the repair project.
and Judge Myers is the individual who handled down the final decision in federal court on the Griffin
On the
rates
Griffin,
question.
yep.
Just so you know who the judge is.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Corinne?
Those are all my updates.
So before we move to the next item on the agenda, I have one update because I promised I would do this. I received an email this week from Dallas, but it is a press release from the state auditor. And following this meeting, am happy to forward and share, but it is basically a general information on early voting sites, numbers, where they are, what 2022, there were 301 sites. In 2026, there are 319 sites, an increase of 18 sites or 6%. Early voting hours have gone from 45,512 hours to 48,048 hours, another increase of 6%. Weekend and early voting hours are roughly flat, 4,610 to 4,679, or roughly a 1.5% increase. But I did promise, as information was shared, that I would make sure that you all were aware and what we have. So I will forward this through our email line.
Great. And perhaps there's one more too, Ms. Chair, and that's the conversation that we had about the facilities.
Okay,
Can you?
sure. And Sally, please step in. We met with Assistant County Manager Tim Love this past week and discussed facilities. We talked about the process and how they're going about looking at facilities. It does look like there will be no change in our warehouse for this election cycle through to 27. So I thought that would be positive information. Corrine certainly shared how things are being dealt with and made operable and efficient as possible here, how the staff and the team are doing that. And then Sally and I spent a great deal of time talking about sites and how they went about looking at county sites versus private sites versus leased sites versus purchased sites. And I felt like we went through some options that I don't know where that will all fall out, but I think for at least this forthcoming year, to put us all at rest and the staff at rest, we're not moving this year. So hopefully is that accurate?
Yeah, I don't really think there's anything to add. We did see a list from the county of sites that they have looked at and thought about, and they have a list of criteria that Corrine has provided to about what we will need. Some sites, it's pretty quickly seen that it's not going to work for us, whether it's the size of the building, whether it's parking in the buildings, location of the building. But there was a good effort made on their part to show us what they've actually done, which felt a little bit more forthcoming.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's going to be important for us to continue and not just let it drop. I think there's a plan in place about doing that. We have a longer term plan idea around, knowing this is going to, a place where we can all be together is going to take us some time. And is there something that will be built versus something that needs to be refurbished? And it's going to take all of us. I would just suggest that if anybody's driving around town and they see a large vacant building, to at least check with our staff about that. I'm beginning to do that some. I mean, it needs to be large and needs to have parking. We've done kind of the obvious places. We've done the malls. We've done, I don't know, where else have we know that we've tried and haven't been very successful yet.
Well, it's certain I hate to bring this up because it won't work, but if a site like the old Steinmark, it's not big enough, even if it were feasible or available. But those are the types of structures that we're looking at and that they've looked at.
Old manufacturing buildings that aren't being used. I mean, there are probably some more places that we haven't done. There's a list that we had of all the county properties, and I'm going to give that to Corrine. I had found that from a real estate person, and it's got 7 or 8 pages of county properties on it. Now, most of those probably wouldn't be appropriate, but it's another option. And Tim Love certainly wanted to see it, so we'll
Good.
give it to Corrine. Corrine will give it to Tim, and hopefully we keep working on keeping this
Keeping
momentum
it
going.
moving. So we will continue to do that and continue to bring it back to this board. And if there are things that, while we're using the task force mode, please send us emails, ideas, thoughts. I mean, please be a part of the process.
Will do.
Everybody is welcome to do that.
Thank you.
Always.
Thank you. This was a very reassuring report. Thank you. And especially the fact that we don't have to worry about moving.
No, that was clear.
Before
It was said straight
November.
out more than once.
It was clear.
That's being very deliberate about this is the only way to ensure success. So thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing. Really appreciate it. And I've got input. It's coming your way.
I do. I do know this. Yes, thank you. All right. We're good? Okay. So the next item on the agenda is question for council. So Courtney, if you would like to lead that or initiate that conversation.
I have just not a conversation,
Okay.
but just a quick question for Ms.
Okay.
Broughton.
Sure.
Who is your client and who do you represent? That's all.
Sure. That's a fair question. I am an employee of Buncombe County, so therefore Buncombe County is my client. Now, if where this is going is what sort of duty of loyalty do I have to this board? Is that sort of kind of, do you want me to take a step further to explain my role here, if any?
You explain anything you'd like. That's
No,
fine.
I want to answer your questions. If all you want to know is I'm an employee of Buncombe County, that is who I represent. The county offers legal services as a service to this board. Understanding that you have a limited budget, you do have a private attorney who's been retained, Brandon Freeman. That if any time the relationship between the county and the board becomes adversarial, then it would not be appropriate for a county attorney to represent an adversarial party. But if my purpose is just to provide sort of references to the law, my interpretations, things like that, that is why I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you. And can that be entered into the minutes, please? That's fine. Thank you.
All right. Aaron.
It's time.
It's time.
Here we go. You want me to work with Linda for a little while first? Or do you care? Do you want to work? How you feeling? I'm okay. It's just congestion. How about I do the first view with her and then this week?
That's fine. Yeah. I was going to ask you because I didn't think she felt good.
Yeah,
You
she's
don't seem like you feel good.
Oh, I'm better now.
Okay.
she's been not so good. That's just the residual.
All right, can everyone hear me? All right, good afternoon again. Besides our normal ballots that we're going to recommend for approval today, we want to update the board on a couple numbers for some situations we haven't had this year, but they're familiar from past years on some of our ballots that have come in. So no action needs to be taken by the board, but we have a few that are in a cure pending status and a reissued status. So we only have one pending cure. Just as a reminder to the board, these are ballots that have been returned but have a deficiency that can be cured. So an example of that would be like the photo ID exception form, that yellow form that you sometimes see, that it was not signed. So that's something that we can send out and get cured. So we only have one of those. We also have 2 reissued ballots since the last meeting, and these are ballots that were returned but have a deficiency that cannot be cured. So we've reissued those voters' ballots because we can't cure what they've already given us. And an example of that would be missing witness signatures. And we only have 2 of those. Any questions on either of those types? All right, so we can get on to our ballot review. Today we have a total of 96 ballots to approve. We have 85 civilian and 11 overseas. And a couple other numbers just to update you guys on. We've now sent out 1,505 ballots.
And as of today, we will have how many back in?
So if we approve everything we have today, it'll be 236.
you.
All right, any other questions before we get started? All right.
Of return. You said 85 civilian and 11
Civilian and 11 overseas.
overseas.
We're gonna work together
All right, well, you just
a
figured
little
it
bit
was up.
and we'll switch.
And here we have Catherine Johnson.
Okay, here she is right here. I'll like to sort of check.
And first sign this.
Alright, so let's see, so we have 3.1, CIB is 86660. The name is, sorry, James Massey Cook. It's 663. Yes, 663. Okay. Let me check.
10 or 12 years.
I believe it's 10,
Yeah, okay.
but I'm not.
Well, but this,
Mine have always been 10.
this is our issue here.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, because it was issued only 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we know they're. at
that
least
was
10
the
years.
logic
Yep.
that okay, thank you for
I'm glad y'all are
confirming
reviewing.
what we're paid the big bucks to do. We gotta have some fun, right? Okay, so Pamela Chacon, and she had
Sound a little
1, 2,
rascal.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Yeah, good. It was duplicated properly, and that was Ms. Chacon. I know how to pronounce that name because when I was a kid, there was a player of the New York Mets, and his name was Elio Chacon, spelled the same way. That's the only reason I know the pronunciation.
Do you know how to pronounce that?
Chacon, yeah.
Is that Hispanic?
Yeah.
It is.
All righty, and now we have Jeffrey Twitchell Was.
What a name, Twitchell was.
Mr. Twitchell Was is in. That is the correct precinct, and that is the OVR.
Okay.
OVR and precinct. And, ooh, for Switzerland. And yeah, 2026. But he better renew it before the fall because this expires on August 11th.
Well, he's okay for now.
He's okay for now.
Yeah.
That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's properly duplicated.
Okay.
All righty, and this was Mr. Twitchell Was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that's the WAAS. I'm thinking that might be a Swiss name. I don't know. 26, good. And now we have,
Go on bell.
yeah, Janie Ellen Gronveld. And 27, 35.1, 35.1, 27, good. And, oh, this voter's in Amsterdam. Wow. And there is a passport. Yep, there's your 10 years. And that is valid. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Yep.
Everybody just goes to a portal there.
Oh, it makes it
Out
so
of the
much
country,
easier when
yeah.
they're overseas.
So how long have we had the portals?
I know we had it in 2016, 2020. They could be heard, but everybody overseas.
don't need to worry about it. It's just getting feedback and I'm trying to implement that with my body.
Boom.
Thank you. It also kind of front faces. You can go in the back parking lot on here.
Yeah, can you? I just look for that blinking light.
Yeah, or you can't take a left turn.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was just showing you.
Yeah, we just don't want you to feel left out or not. Practice.
So they are in certain areas of this.
Oh. Alrighty, just switch down. Another balance. Precinct.
That's where we are. Oh, and that's. Well, that's 6.1.
We're 66.1.
Weaverville is 67.4.
Yeah. Fire department. I wanna know. Oh, I don't know.
I distributed those lists. Did anybody bring one?
I happen to carry mine in my bag. It's okay. Change slacks.
see all the marks? Are you satisfied with the duplication? Do you have any questions or concerns regarding the duplicated ballots?
All right, we'll get the labels out to you guys soon. Okay, we have our first batch here, and this is our scanned ballots. And next we have our original absentees that were duplicated.
I know.
And last we have the results. And last we have our results with the USB. Yes, ma'am. Yep. While you are signing, y'all could make the motion to approve at any time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we approve the 96 absentee ballots that we just reviewed. Aye. Oh, all right. Even more absentee ballots. You. 1995.
From my side, thank you guys.
Our next meeting will take place on February 24th. Our next meeting will take place on February 24th at 3:30 here at 35 Woodfin. And I now will recess this meeting. And prior to that, I need a motion for us to move into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that the Blount County Board of Elections go into closed session for the purposes of discussing a personnel matter.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will reconvene here at the conclusion of the closed session.
And board, just to be clear, under 143-318.11 sub 6, which is the statutory authority under which you are going into closed session, you can use this as the opportunity to discuss the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee. General personnel policy issues may not be considered in a closed session. So be sure that you are addressing an issue that has to do with an individual employee who is entitled to protections of human resources protections. Couldn't breathe there for a minute.
Thank you.
following closed session.
Where do we have the follow-up about our, I mean, how do we
Share
how do
what
we share with the appropriate?
we'd like to report out
Yeah, we
in
want-
open session?
You can do that now.
Let's do that
Okay.
now.
Open session, or you can do
Okay.
it next time when there's more folks here, just
No, let's
whatever
just-
you'd like to report what happened in closed
I-
session.
If I may, I would suggest that we do both. I think, we just came out of closed session. That really is the appropriate time. But I think Amy's right too. We don't have an audience. And so at the beginning of our next meeting, I think it would make sense. We
Recap.
would like to recap what we did, and that way everybody
fine.
knows, but
While it's fresh, we'll
I
do it
wanna
here.
settle it today.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I actually want other people in the room to hear
Yeah.
what we have concluded.
So in accordance with the general statute, our discussion was around a single personnel person. Okay. But what we would like to propose is that following the primary, before we go into the general election, we would like to schedule a training with the director of budget and the director of HR and our team, this board and our executive director and team, to work on how our MOU works and how that communication works, and then how it's facilitated moving forward.
Now, since the MOU is at issue, that's technically adversarial, so that would be a situation in which you would want Brandon Freeman to represent the board.
Okay.
And then I would represent the county.
Sounds good.
I would assume that he would be at the training.
You'll have,
Question?
he's your
Yeah.
lawyer,
Right.
so.
This is not discussing changing it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just discussing it as it
Following
exists.
following it
following
as it is.
I'll
Yes.
probably still put out a call to Brandon.
Okay.
maybe just to
Yeah.
check in.
That's fine.
Sure.
That's fine. I just wanted to clarify that
Yeah,
because
we're not
we're
changing.
just talking
Yeah.
about administering it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so because that could potentially lead to something, I'll put in a call to Brandon and ask him to follow up with you, or you
Okay.
can call him directly.
Sure, whichever.
And, that way there'll be no, even the appearance of impropriety. I'm not gonna talk to him about the issue, I'm just gonna tell him that.
Well, if you just let him talk for like 30 seconds, then he won't charge you. So I'm not.
I like Brandon,
I
I was
do.
in a car
I'm
accident,
just-
he gave me a lot of good advice.
So that would be our proposal, coming out of closed session and following the primary.
We want the director.
We want the
of
bosses.
Director
HR.
of HR.
And the director of budget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the
Specifically.
directors will be able to inform their respective staffs of what has been agreed
And-
upon
and they
by
need to
the
be,
various departments.
and they need to be agreed. They need to be the ones that are agreeing on it.
That's right.
So, yes. The training itself, I think
We'll have
trust
to
it.
talk
Yeah,
about
we'll-
that and
yeah.
how to schedule it and
How long and
amount
all
of
that.
time and all of that.
Yeah.
But we knew with the primary, this needed to wait till following the primary. So,
And we'll actually wait to see what the totals look like on March 3rd.
Yeah.
Because I'm still nervous as heck about
It is what it is.
it. It is what it is, but we don't want to do this until the dust is settled. right?
Sure. Right. Yeah. If we
Right.
have to have a second primary, we'll wait. Yeah.
all right, hearing no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn, please? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.